Jasper with Belligerent, and thank you for your click. This is a new show on the channel called Tips and Tricks. It's advice for novice car enthusiasts. I've been a car enthusiast pretty much my entire life, and I've been working on cars for 9 years. I took auto tech in high school, and I've built cars that have driven from Virginia to Texas and back without rolling up and leaving me on the side of the road. This is advice for novice. I am no professional mechanic, and this is more just DIY guy to new DIY guys. Simple as that. Now, the first thing we're going to talk about on this show is the first thing that should be in your mind when working on a car, and that is safety. Safety first, always. Now, there are 3 things you need to work on cars safely. Those are jack stands, safety glasses, and gloves. I personally know of someone who's died working on their car. They were changing their oil, and the car wasn't jacked properly. They weren't using jack stands, they only had a jack. The car fell on them and crushed them and killed them. You don't really want to go out this way. You want to go out in a fireball, a blaze of glory. Maybe just on your deathbed when you're old, surrounded by your children and people you love. You don't want to go out changing your oil like an idiot. It's not how you want to go out. So, safety first, jack stands. When you jack your car, you want to be on solid, level ground. Don't compromise your safety. Never get under a car that you even think in the slightest way if you even think there's a small risk the car could fall on you and crush you, don't get under it. It's as simple as that. You want to be safe. Now, this thing right here is very delicate. It's very complicated. The wait lists for transplants are pretty long. Best case scenario, you get a glass one so you don't look like a pirate. It's better just to have safety glasses, especially if you're working with power tools, things like grinders, or any circumstance where things can get in your eyes. You just want to have a decent pair of safety glasses on hand. A lot of people will attest to this. My eyes have been saved using safety glasses. I used to solder things all the time and work on my guitars, and I had a piece of molten lead, which that's all solder is, thing right in the safety glasses. If I had not been wearing them, well, I'd have a droopy little glass eye, and you don't want that. Now, the last thing that you should have, or at least be aware of, is that used oil is carcinogenic. You can grab any bottle of oil in Walmart or Advance, and you'll see in small print on the back, it'll say used oil is carcinogenic. What that means is that it can mutate your DNA and cause cancer. And also, harsh chemicals, the kind that you'll find when working on cars, can really wear out your hands. So you really want just a box of these nice little nitrile gloves. They're not expensive. It's like $6 for 50 pairs. They're disposable, and if you get the right ones that fit your hands correctly, they won't really interfere with your working on cars. You want to practice, you want to take care of your skin, and you really want to take care of your hands, because you see a lot of old mechanics, they have these horrible, grizzled, old, messed up hands. My hands are clean. You want to have just a basic awareness. When you're putting pressure on something, you don't want it to break and then BAM! Ouch, you just smacked your hand into a piece of metal, you've cut your knuckle open, oh, now you gotta get stitches. There's nasty, dirty stuff in the wound because you were working on a dirty car. It's better just to be aware. So you never want to compromise your safety, and you always want to practice some form of awareness when you're working on your car. It's just as simple as that. Now, especially if you're just getting into this and you really haven't bought a lot of tools yet, it's important. You don't need to buy the best tools. You don't need Snap-on if you're just trying to start off easy and do your own oil. Maybe, do other little maintenance-y things here and there in your car, but you want to have decent tools. You don't want to have crappy tools. That $20 socket set from Walmart probably isn't going to cut it. And one of the biggest reasons, one of the most important things you can have as a DIY car enthusiast who doesn't have a lot of hand tools yet, is a good ratchet. Now this right here, it's not a good ratchet. Terrible ratchet. This is a cheap China ratchet, I call them. There's a million different versions of it. They come in all kinds of cheap tool kits. This looks like metal, but it's actually not metal. This is plastic. This ratchet is garbage. It's going to be rough to work with. It has a low tooth count. It feels gross to work with. I wouldn't try to put any real pressure. I wouldn't trust this ratchet to do any kind of real work. It's going to break. It's not a lifetime warranty. You're going to have to go spend another $5-10 on another one. This belongs in one place, and that is the trash. If you're gonna buy the cheapest Walmart tool set, which I don't really recommend, I recommend, spending $100, $200 on a decent Craftsman or, Duralast tool set at the very least. I like Gear Wrench. They're now known as Tech Pro, but I love their ratchets. This is a tough ratchet. It's got a sealed head design, so no dirt, gritty stuff's gonna get in there. It's a lifetime warranty. I've broken a couple of these. You just take them back where you got them, and they give you a new one. No questions asked. It's really nice. And you should at least be buying tools with lifetime warranty so you don't have to buy them again when you break them, inevitably. It's a nice ratchet. This is a good ratchet. So if you're going to buy a cheap tool set, go to an auto parts store, go to a decent tool store. Hell, even go to Harbor Freight and just get a decent ratchet with your socket set. And you're going to break those Walmart sockets eventually. And, maybe replace them with good tools as you go. But you don't want really cheap tools. You want to have a little better than cheap tools. AutoZone, Harbor Freight, Lowe's, Home Depot. You can go get decent tools at any of these places for decent prices. And most of the stuff's going to have a lifetime warranty. You want to at least go that far. You'll thank me later. Now, the next thing I want to talk about is organization. You want to keep your tools organized. You want to keep them on rails like this, because a lot of the tool sets are going to come with little plastic toolboxes with organizers in them that will offer you some semblance of organization. But these, and speaking from experience, even the good ones, my Gear Wrench toolbox, it wore out completely. They wear out over time and quicker than you think. So you want to, once your toolbox is completely unreliable and worn out, you want to buy some good toolboxes. You want to go, DeWalt makes decent toolboxes, Craftsman's alright. You just want a nice toolbox to keep all your stuff in, and you want socket rails for your sockets, and you want everything as organized as possible. Because what can really cost you a lot of time when working on cars, and especially when I was doing auto tech in high school, is very disorganized. And the teacher would always mad because no one with the tools back right, and you'd spend like 30 minutes of your 2 hours in there just getting tools. You wouldn't be able to get things done half the time because you're sitting there looking for a 10mm socket. Those jokes are really relevant because people do lose their tools all the time, and you want to be organized so you're not losing your sockets all the time. And that's just the plain and simple truth of it. Organization is going to help you get things done quicker so you can get to enjoying and driving your build a lot quicker. This next one, I can't stress enough. This one is really important, and that is research, research, research. You need to research before you do anything to a car, even an oil change, because some cars have multiple oil draining points. You want to know what you're doing, and even mechanics, they research before they work on unfamiliar cars. They have a tool called AllData, and AllData is basically just any job you can imagine doing on a car. It has details on how to do it, how long it's going to take, what tools they'll need. Even professionals research. You don't want to go in blind. I've done this before, on things like oil changes. I didn't anticipate there being like a cartridge filter on my 5-cylinder Volvo that I daily. And, I had to wait to do my oil change because I didn't have the right, oil filter socket to pull it off, and I had to order it online. So you always want to research before you go in and do a job on a car. And even if it does appear that you did it right, maybe you do a timing belt job, but you tension it completely wrong. Oh, a couple hundred miles down the road, that belt skips a couple teeth, bam, you just ruined an engine. And if you worked on someone else's car, you just ruined their engine. So you always want to do research before you touch a car. You never want to go in blind. And even if you've done it before, you might want to just brush up real quick because you might forget something when you do it. And then you have to take it all back apart to maybe just change a seal or something that you could have done the first time. So research is really important when it comes to working on cars. You always want to research what you're doing and at least have a basic idea before you go in. Because if you go in blind, you're going to mess something up, you're going to cause some serious damage, and it's better not to do that in the first place. You just want to do your research. Now, the final thing I want to talk about here is your daily. The car you drive every day to get to school, to go to work. Don't compromise it. It's okay to modify it. It's okay to enjoy it. But don't do anything that's going to compromise its reliability. Don't do any big time-sensitive jobs under the gun. I have a friend. He had a little EM2 Civic, little Civic Coupe. It was a 5-speed, and the clutch went out. No big deal. Just changed the clutch. He knows how to do that. But he did it under the gun. He did it without a lot of time left. And he didn't have a lot of time to do it. And they had to be 2 states over for work in the morning. So they rushed it. They went too fast. Lo and behold, 6 months later, that transmission fell off that car, and they had to junk it. So you never want to compromise your daily. You never want to put yourself in a position where your daily is going to be compromised. You don't want to do anything stupid, like boost it with a cheap eBay turbo and compromise its reliability. You know, you want, if you, on your daily especially, you want to do things right. On your project, sure, compromise your project all you want. You're not relying on it. It doesn't matter as much, but your daily kind of needs to be a bit sacred, and that you need to put its reliability and consistency above all else. That's the most important part about a daily. And a lot of guys don't get that, and they do horrible stuff to their daily, and they mess their daily up, and wow, it's not a daily anymore, and now you need to spend money on a new daily. So your daily driver car, you want to take good care of it, you want to protect it, you want to cherish it, you need to protect it from your own impulses. Because there are many times where I would have loved to turn the boost up on my Volvo, but I know that's going to lead to a cracked block because it's got a weak engine block. If you don't mess with it and you leave the boost alone, the engine runs forever. But the minute you turn it up, you're putting too much pressure on it. And I've wanted to do that a lot, but I haven't because I need it to start every day. I need it to run. I don't want to buy a new one yet. So never compromise your daily. Always put your daily's reliability and consistency above anything else when working on it. And this can be good, because if you're getting into working on cars, guess what's really cheap now? Your daily. As long as you maintain it, you do the work yourself, you're spending a lot less. Say you need to do a timing belt on it. Well, do your research. If you're not afraid to do it, go ahead and do it. And guess what? Instead of spending $1,500 to get it done at a shop, you only are out $300 in parts. And maybe in a Sunday afternoon or something. So always protect your daily.